Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are replacing the air tube of a tire that got a nail in it and got popped. So we're doing this on a freely scooter, but basically any scooter that has an air tube in the tire, you know, obviously the foam ones aren't going to work and you're not going to have those, but you can get this. This is just a tire I bought off of Amazon. It's basically like $8, right? So it's a replacement one. Make sure you take note of what kind of valve is on yours. Ours, we needed this kind of side valve because if it was not, if it was kind of a straight off valve, we'd have some problems where it might click on the back of the scooter as it was going around. So you'd have a problem there. So we got one that's, of course, side like that. So we're doing this on the freely, but basically you could do this on any scooter that you have that has air-filled tires, and so I'll show you how I'm doing it today on this one. But basically all of them are pretty much the same. They all have some type of back brake that you're gonna have to remove. You're not gonna have to figure out how to get the tire off, you know, so basically the whole tire's gotta come off so you can actually take off the one that's popped and replace the inner tube with a new one. So let me show you how we do it on this scooter, which is the Freely. I'm just showing it that it's popped. So on the Freely, you have to remove, it's kind of underneath these little tabs, which kind of sucks because then they don't stick really well after you do it. So we happen to be in an area where there's a lot of construction right now for homes, and so because of that, I've done this before. So the Freely itself has got these two pieces on the side that just make it look more polished and better look to it. So they have these two pieces on the side. They're just plastic pieces that have to be removed. The reason we need to do that is we need to get to the main screw, which is going to hold the tire in. So we need to get to these so that we can actually remove the tire. So that's why I took this piece off. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, just to remove that same plastic piece. And again, it's just to get to this. We need to make sure we get to the right screw that we can actually remove the whole tire from. So now, depending on how your tire is, you may or may not have to actually remove this top braking bracket. So this would have been a lot easier if it was on the front of the scooter, but it's not. So here we are. So now I'm going to remove this middle piece here. What this tire has is it's got kind of a guide in it though. So you can see like it has these little screws in the side. So I have to actually remove those two just far enough where this can come out. So it's got kind of a guide in there to make sure that the tire actually pretty much spins evenly, so it kind of helps center the tire on there. So what I usually like to do is I keep everything from the left side of the scooter, all the screws on the left side with the left side, all the screws from the right side on the right side, because there's quite a few little screws here just to take off this and replace this, but this is just this model. You might not have as many on your model as I do on mine, but try to keep things a little bit organized when I'm doing it so it's easier to put back together. So one thing to note from mine, see, I can't actually slide this off, I don't think, without actually taking the brake off. So the brake's got to be loosened at the top. You see how the brake's catching in the rim here? So I actually do have to loosen that. So just another thing to loosen is going to be the top part of the brake here. Just enough to get it to basically get the brake off there. So that pretty much just loosens and allows me to actually pull the brake off. So now, in theory, and it works, you can actually pull your tire off. So be careful not to have your tire slam to the ground. But now your tire's off. So two things. One is these are the guides I was telling you about that slide in here to keep everything kind of structured well. So that's that. So now here's my flat tire. So I'm going to take this piece off here, which is just the valve, and the tire's flat. So the easiest way to do this, if there's an easy way to get a tire removed, is with a screwdriver. So with this one, you know, basically you don't want to damage the outside tire, because the outside tire is not the problem. The outside tire has got plenty of tread left on it. That's not the problem. So, but basically what we need to do is we need to get the entire outside tire off first. And in order to do that, you kind of got to use a little bit of muscle in there to push it all off. It shouldn't take you too much because this is just a scooter, but you get bike tires and stuff, it can be really a bear to get to. So there we go. So there we go. Then if we pull the tube out, boom, tube's out. Somewhere in this stupid tube, there is a hole. So now we have to actually put the new tube back in. So the way I found this to work the easiest, and I'm sure there's tricks that everyone else has, but for me, the way I found it to be the easiest is to put the tube inside the tire and basically try to get it as much in there as you can. So if you do that and then get the tire all on as one piece, it seems to work a lot easier for me, at least. So that's kind of what I do. So I'm going to put that in there, push it in there as much as I can into the thing. Then the fun comes of trying to get this tire back on. So basically, you know you have to get your valve into the valve hole. So I always usually try to do that first. So you can see I got my valve in there. And then I'll put the kind of the nut on there, because once that comes off, you got to start all over. So if you put the valve through and you put kind of a valve nut back on it, it'll hold it in place so you don't actually, your valve doesn't somehow sneak off when you're trying to push the tire on. Then it's just a matter of, you know, basically manipulating and getting the tire pushed back onto the rim. So one side's always going to be pretty easy. It's the other side that gives you a hard time. But again, it's going to take some muscle, you know, a little manipulation. You got to be a little careful of trying to get and use a screwdriver here, because the last thing you want to do is put a hole in your brand new tube for your tire. But work one way through first, which shouldn't be too bad to do. On one side, it'll take some muscle and it'll take a little bit of patience to do it. But once you get one side in, now you really just have to get the other side kind of pushed into the tire. So again, I'm trying to show you on camera doing this, but sometimes you have to kind of work it through a little bit more. But you don't want one side will try to come off while you're doing the other. You can use a screwdriver. I've done it multiple times using a screwdriver. You just got to be very careful not to get it onto the rubber of your tire or your inner tube and pop it. So you can work through that way, or you can just try to use your hands to get it to work through. There we go. So that's it. So now it's put back on. What I typically do in this situation is two things. One is try not to get your valve in the wrong spot, which, here's my valve. So I'm going to pump it up, make sure my valve's turned the right way, because if it's not, I'm going to take it off and start over, because you cannot fill it up when it's on the back of your tire like this against your rim. So I would like to say I did that to show you guys how to do it, but the reality of it is I didn't, and so I'm going to have to pull the tire back off and do it again. So now it's done correctly, and you can see the valve now is on the right side, pointing away. And what I'm going to do quick is just fill it up, make sure it seems to hold air, which it better, it's brand new. But get a quick pump on it. And obviously you want to make sure all of your tire pieces are all this stuff's pushed in there really tight. Get the right pressure on the tire. This one holds 35 PSI, so I can look at my pump and see where I'm at. So got that done. So obviously I want to put the brake to the brake side. Don't want to show you another way to do something wrong. So I'm going to do that. So I had to put these little guide pieces back in. They're actually kind of nice because they help line things up. Once you do that, you're going to reverse everything you just did. So you're going to basically go back through. It's easier to put the center nut back on first of this. So it's easier to do that. So I would encourage you to do that. Then these little side ones, at least for the Freely, like I said, not every scooter is going to have it. But then the little side ones, I put those in second. So that's kind of what I do for my process, is do that. And then once you get everything put back together again, obviously you're going to reattach your brakes. So that's what I'm doing here quick, is just putting everything back the way we took it apart. Okay, so that's really it. I put the brake back on just like I took it off, put all the screws back in just like I took them off. So that's really it. Everything's tightened back up. You can see the tire's full of air, and it's ready for its next cruise. So that's it. That's how you replace inner tube on a scooter, and yours might be a little bit different for a replacement, but you can buy the tire for pretty cheap on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description below for the one that we bought, which is a 10-inch tire for this one. But measure your scooter to make sure you get the right one. That's it. Subscribe to our channel. We'll put a link in the description below and give us a thumbs up. Thanks.